What's up guys? So in this video I'm going to be explaining to you how to use the perpetual and futures trading platform within OKX. Now this video assumes that you already have set up your own account. If you have not, please refer to the overview video which will explain how to set up an account and also how to fund it. So first thing we have to do is we have to fund our trading account. So under assets, you can see here that you have a funding account and a trading account. When you transfer money into OKX, it will go into your funding account. In order to use that to trade, we have to send it across to the trading account. So from this screen here, you're going to come up and click on transfer, then transfer again. You're going to select what you have in your wallet that you want to trade with. And then you're going to go from your funding account to your trading account, however much you want to transfer in, click on transfer. And then immediately you can see here that your funds are now in your trading account. Then we're going to go up to this trade tab and we're going to click on margin trading, which brings up this exchange. Now this is where we can long and short on leverage. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you how to do that. First, I'll go through the features of this platform. So no need to explain the top line as we've already been through that before. The second line up here shows the current pair. If you wanted to change that, you could click the down arrow and you can see here you've got under the perpetual tab, you've got all of these options here to trade. Under the futures tab, you also have a lot of contracts to trade as well. Now, if you're brand new to leverage trading, the difference between perpetual and futures is this. Under perpetual, every contract has an 8-hour funding fee. However, it does not have an expiry date. So if I was to click on one of these, you can see up here it says time to funding. So it's telling you in an hour and 18 minutes it's going to charge the funding fee, and it's got the current rate, which is calculated based on the previous funding period. And then you've got the predicted rate based on the current funding period. With the futures contracts, however, these have an expiry date. And you can see here the last 4 numbers in the ticker code, that's a date. So when you see 0924, that's saying that you can trade this contract until the 24th of September. At that date, if you don't manually close your trades in this contract yourself, the exchange will automatically close it for you, whether it's at a loss or profit. So you always want to close your own trades before the expiry date, usually at least a couple of days before the expiry date. The advantage of this is that these contracts do not have the 8-hour funding fee. So when you're deciding which one you want to use, and you may use both for different reasons, the way to decide is basically based off the trade you plan to take. So if you are entering a swing trade or a position trade or something that you think will take a week or more to play out, you want to be doing it on these contracts because you don't want the 8-hour funding fee every 8 hours for a whole week. That will eat into your profits. But if you're just doing a day trade or a scalp, you want to be on perpetual because the funding fee won't matter so much when you're holding it short term. And also the advantage is that there's a lot more volume on these pairs, which helps you get fills easier. So they both have their pros and cons, and the way that you should make your decision is based on the time frame of the trade that you're taking at the time. So now, once you've decided that, you can see across here there we've got a further breakdown if we only want to look at particular things. So we can click on top, which shows the top traded coins for the day and most popular. GameFi shows like gaming coins. If you happen to notice that gaming coins are doing well on a particular day, you might just want to have a look at what other coins are gaming coins. There's meme coins, the Polkadot ecosystem, NFTs, DeFi, layer 2s, and grayscale. Now, the last thing to note is that this exchange offers both USDT margined and coin margined trades. What that means is that if you are selecting USDT margined, every trade that you take here is going to provide you your profit or your losses in USDT. So your trading account would have to have USDT in it, and you're using that USDT to open trades, and then you're taking your profits or losses in USDT. So you're basically accumulating USDT only when you choose USDT margined. The other one, coin margined, it differs in the way that it actually settles in the coin that you're trading. So coin margined, for example, if you wanted to take a Bitcoin trade, you would have to have Bitcoin, and then your profit or your loss will settle in Bitcoin. So if you're wanting to accumulate a particular coin, coin margined is a great way to do that. And it allows you to accumulate more than just USDT or just BTC, which is what most exchanges only give you, those two options. So by having coin margined, yeah, if there's a particular coin that you want to accumulate a lot of long term without spot buying it, this is one way that you can create more of it. So they're the basic differences between perpetual, futures, USDT, and coin margined. And you can find all of those options from just clicking on this down box here. Now, moving over, we've got the current price and the current increase for the last 24 hours. We've got the index price and the mark price. We've got the 24-hour low, 24-hour high, open interest, 24-hour volume. You've got the funding rate if you are on a perpetual contract, and then the current rate and predicted rate, as we spoke about before. Now, if I switch this to a futures one instead, you'll see that the funding rate up here disappears. So if you're ever unsure if you're on the right thing, A, it needs to say perp at the end for the 8-hour funding fee options. B, just look up here, and if you don't see a funding rate, then you know you're on a futures contract. Moving across to the right, we've got trading data, which brings you to this area that we spoke about in the overview. Information, we've got the settings here. Now you should have already set this to single currency from the previous videos. If not, you'll need to do that in order to be able to access this area anyway. You can change the theme to dark or light. Most traders like dark. Order confirmation brings up a new screen. Every time you place an order, it will bring up a new screen so that you can double check the details before that order goes in. So that's definitely something you want to have on, especially in the beginning when you're getting used to a new platform. And then the rest is just the units and stuff that we've already discussed when we went through this list here. Now, the middle section is where all the action happens, and the left side is the order section where you'll place all of your orders. We've got a big chart in the middle. Most of your charting will be done on TradingView, but if you want to add anything here, you can. And then we've got the order book on the right hand side and trade history, which is the latest orders that are filled. And the order book shows you in the middle here the current price and then the orders either side of that price. Within the chart itself, you've got a number of options up here. You can change the time frame if you want to. You can add indicators if you want to. So if I add one there, you can see it pops up here, and if I no longer want it, I can either hide it by clicking the eye icon, or I can delete it with the cross. And if I ever want to bring it back, just come back up to indicators again. The next section is a compare. So if I wanted to compare this with something else, let's just say I wanted to compare it with Ethereum, then I could just type in ETH and that would overlay it there. If I wanted to then get rid of that, it shows up here. I can just click the cross and get rid of it. The settings screen, if I wanted to change anything, any colors, background color, time zone, scales, etc., can do that there. And then this screen here is where I can open up the full screen if I want to see the entire chart. Once I'm done with that, I can click on that up again to exit the full screen and come back to normal. I can also change the price here that it's showing me the current price to last price, index price, or mark price. Most of the time you'll keep it on last price. And then I can also change the chart to the original view, which is the OKX exchange chart or the trading view chart which is what we would most commonly use. Down the left-hand side, we have a lot of tools that are similar to TradingView, so you'll be able to easily identify those. And then moving to the bottom of the screen, we have all of your order data. So open orders would be any orders that you have entered that have not yet filled. Now that could be an entry order. It could also be a stop loss or a take profit, etc. Order history just shows the orders that you've done in the past. Now it does include your spot orders as well as your future orders. And you can also change that here. If you only want to know your futures trades, you can click on that here. If you only want to know perpetual, only spot, etc. Positions will be once an order has executed. You'll find that here. Your history is your history of orders that have filled. And then your asset is your wallet balance. So if you had a number of crypto, you would see them all listed here. Similar to what you see when you click on my assets here, it's basically replicated down here. You can also choose to deposit from this section if you want to just go straight into here. And you can choose to transfer as well if you want to transfer, as we've done previously, from funding to trading account. And lastly, you can move things around. So you can make things smaller by just clicking the little arrow that appears on every section here. If you want to move it completely, the three little lines that you can see on the top right hand side of every section, you just hold on to that and then move it across. And you can change things around however you like, make things bigger and smaller. For me, I like to see the chart in the middle. And if there's anything you want to add to this, you can go up to the settings tab and click on layout here. And anything that's turned off, you can just add it back in if it's something that you want to see, or you can turn something off if you don't want to see it. There's also a classic layout and an options layout, and the ability to create your own layout. You'll probably just stick with classic layout. Okay, so now that we understand where to find everything, we now need to know how to actually place orders here. So everything happens up here on the left-hand side of the screen. The top section you can see is where you have the ability to change from isolated to cross. The difference being that when you select isolated, the capital that you put on a trade is the most you could lose should you get liquidated. When you choose cross, it's using your entire account balance, which puts you at risk should there be a huge move in the market like this that comes unexpectedly that potentially could skip your stop loss and take out your entire account balance. So there are risks with cross leverage. There are also advantages, but for learning to trade, we recommend you always make sure that that's on isolated, and you're going to have to make sure that it's on isolated for every trade that you take, especially when you're going to a new pair for the first time. Next to that, you can see here, we've got the option to use leverage, and the first one is the long leverage. So the leverage you want to use if you're taking a long position, and you can change that to anything that you like. Then you've also got the option to set your short leverage as well, and you can change that as well. For beginner students, we usually recommend that you don't go above 10x leverage, but you will have to check your liquidation points when you take any entries, and I will show you how to do that as well shortly. The next bit is your open and close. So when you're on the open tab, you're entering a position to open a new trade. When you're on the close tab, you're trying to close an existing trade, whether you're closing it as at a loss before it hits your stop loss, or taking profit early, or you didn't have a take profit set and you just want to get out when you feel it's hit a good price. That's when you could have it set on close. I'm going to keep it on the open tab from now. Now the next section shows limit, market, and stop. So a limit order is when you want to place an order in the book at a particular price and you only want your order to fill at that price. You go into the queue for everybody else who wants it at that price as well. And if everybody who's in before you gets filled and there's something left over, then yours will get filled. If there's nothing left over, yours won't execute. That's how a limit order works. In the case of a long position, your limit price needs to be below the current price. In the case of a short, your limit price needs to be above the current price. A market order is when you're saying, I just want to get in now. I like the price that it is now. Get me in somewhere around here. I don't want to take the chance that my order is not going to fill. Just get me in somewhere. So you will not get in at the absolute best price, but you'll get in close to what you wanted. They also come with a different set of fees, which we will go through in this video. Now, the advantage to this is that both of them have the option when you are setting up your initial trade to set your take profit and your stop loss all at the same time. So we will go through and do that together. This means that within one order, you can have the entire trade set and be worry-free. The last tab is the stop tab, and this can be used for two reasons. It can either be used to three reasons. It can either be used to place a stop loss if you didn't do it earlier. It can also be used to place a take profit, again, if you didn't do it earlier. And the last reason is it can be used to place what we call a stop market or a stop limit order. A stop market or a stop limit for an entry differs from just using limit or market in the way that, as I just said, limit, in the case of a limit order needs to be below the current price. But when you do a stop order, you're saying you only want to execute when price hits a certain level. So for example, if I was to place a limit order, so this tab here, a limit order for a long position, it would have to be underneath the current price. So I would be predicting that price is going to come down here, pick up my entry, and then head further up. That would be a normal limit order. With a stop order, what I'm essentially trying to do is say, I don't want to get into this until the price is above where it is now at a certain level. So in that case, you're saying I think price is going to come up, retest, and off you go. And when it does that, this is the level that I want to get in. So that's the difference between using a stop and a limit or market. Now, under the stop tab, you have stop again, which allows you to place an OCO order. Now, essentially the OCO order is the take profit and the stop loss. So again, you're just better off start doing it from here instead of trying to enter it later. But essentially that's what it is in case you do forget. And you have to enter a trigger price and then also the actual price that you want your trade to execute at, whether it be an entry or an exit order, and then the amount. The trigger, you can see here, shows you a trigger order becomes a limit or market order after it's triggered. So you're going to set a trigger price. The price would have to hit that in order to put your order into the book and then hopefully get filled. So that's what a trigger is. And then under advanced limit, you've got a post only saying, I want to enter at XYZ price, but only after I've put this order in. And so you basically use post only if you never want to be a market maker. So you never want the maker fees, which again, we'll go through shortly. Kill or fill, you can see here, ensures that your buy or sell orders are fully executed or cancelled entirely without partial fills. So just say you put $1,000 on a trade and only 500 of it fills, like you don't want that order unless you get the full 1,000. So that's fill or kill. And then immediate or cancel requires all or part of the order to be executed immediately. Any unfilled parts are cancelled. So again, you want to put $1,000 on, only 500 fills, it will cancel the other 500. Most of the sections under here are not needed if you set up your initial order correctly. So now that we know what everything means, let's go and put in a limit order. Now, as you know, I've only got USDT, so we're going to try a contract that has USDT. And I'm just going to choose something cheap for this example, like XRP. First thing I need to do is, again, make sure I'm unisolated, check my leverage, 10x for a long, 10x for a short, I'm fine with that. Need to be on the open tab because I am opening a new trade, and I've got the chart here. Now, normally you would chart this up in TradingView. but for the sake of staying on the same screen, I'm just going to put in a trade quickly in here. All right, so let's place a long order first. So in this example here, I'm assuming that price is going to come back down, pick up my order here, and then head off to hopefully my take profit. And I want to enter all of this in one hit. Now, because the current price is higher than where my entry is, I'm able to place this as a limit order. So I'm going to come over, make sure I'm on limit. The price is my entry price. And then I'm just going to, before I enter the amount, I'm going to click on the take profit and the stop loss. And I'm going to put my take profit price at the green number there. And then my stop loss, the red number there. And then all I have left is to enter the amount of XRP. So I'm just going to start with 100 and see what that calculates at. Again, we don't have a position size calculator, so we have to muck around a little bit till we get this right. So starting at 100 XRP on 10X, you can see here that if the order goes the wrong way, I will lose $3.93. Now, as you know, my account balance is $100. That means at most per trade, if I'm risking 1%, I can only lose $1. So this is well over what I can risk at this point in time. So I need to reduce the amount of XRP. When I put that down to 25, it's telling me that that's too small an order to place. So if you happen to see that, that would be why. It just means you need to look for a different coin, a different opportunity if you are trading a small account. For now, I'm going to go up a bit because this order isn't going to fill anyway, because it's just an example. For the point of moving on, I'm just going to leave it at 100. Now that I can see all of that, the last thing you could do is, if you wanted to know your liquidation price, you can come over here to the calculator, click on liquidation price, and then again, just make sure these details are right. Isolated 10x, open price is 0.9. And just enter all the details there as normal. Under additional margin, just leave that empty and then press calculate. And it will show you here that your liquidation price is 86519. My stop loss is 91383, so that is plenty far away. It shows me now that my stop loss should trigger before liquidation, so I'm good with that amount of leverage. So I can now go ahead and place this order. So I'm going to click on open long, and it's going to bring up that confirmation that I spoke about earlier. Double check everything and click confirm. Now that's gone into the open orders tab. So it's an open order because it is not yet filled. You can see the status here says unfilled, and if I wanted to double check my take profit and stop loss, I can click on view and bring up this screen. And now this will sit here for as long as it takes for price to come down and trigger my order, and then I will be in for this trade. If I want to change anything, I need to cancel the order. So I would just come over here and click on cancel. So that's how you place a limit order long. To do a short would be exactly the same, but in the opposite direction. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to place a market order, where a market order is saying, put me in right now. Doesn't matter what the price is, just somewhere around here will be fine. So you can still estimate your entry, take profit and stop loss. So I'm going to put a short on here. I'm going to take it back down. This is going to be my target here. So I'm going to get in at whatever price it is right now. Going to, again, double check. I'm on isolated and 10x. Click on the take profit and stop loss. Put in my take profit price. Put in my stop loss price. And then I'm going to put in the amount of XRP. And so now when I click on open short, this is going to go in immediately. So it's going to give me this confirmation first. So I'm entering at whatever the price is now, and I've got my take profit price and my stop loss price. So click on confirm. And now you can see here it's got open orders number 1 in brackets, but we can't see anything there. I'll come back to that. But under position, we can see my order here. So we can see that I am on an isolated 10x short on XRP, says current there, shows my liquidation price so I can double check that, shows the average price that I actually got in at as well, so I can then readjust that on my trading view chart. Profit and loss here, shows how much margin, and then if I click on this take profit and stop loss, I can enter a new one here. However, I can't do this while the other ones are existing. So you would only click on this if you forgot to enter it in the beginning. You could come up here and you can enter either both of them, or if you just wanted to put a stop loss, you just untick take profit, and then you're only going to be asked to enter a stop loss. So this, you'd only use this if your entry has gone in, but you didn't set a stop or a take profit, either both of them, one of them, and you now want to add it in after the fact. That's where you could do that. However, we've already entered a stop loss and take profit. If you want to just double check that, you go to open orders, and then on this tab here, you need to change it to stop. And you'll see here, it's created an OCO, so one cancels other, which means if this price hits your stop loss first, it will cancel your take profit. If it hits your take profit first, it will cancel your stop loss order. That way you can't accidentally trigger a new order. So that's what that is there. And it shows here your trigger price for both of them. And it shows here that that is unfilled. Now, if you wanted to change one of those things, unfortunately, you have to cancel the entire order and do it again. So I'm going to cancel that. Now, if I go back to positions, I can hit on take profit and stop loss, and I can put them both in. So I'll put my take profit back at 0.9 and my stop loss, and then I can switch that up to 100%. Now, if I click on confirm, and then go again back to open orders, it's back in there. Okay, and lastly, if you want to just exit a trade immediately, instead of waiting for it to hit your stop loss or your take profit, you can just come over to here and click on market close all. It's going to confirm, and it will show you that it's going to cancel your stop loss and your take profit as well. So confirm that, and then your entire position is closed, and you can see here that it has been moved back to your account. So now we're going to place what is commonly known as a buy or sell stop. So a buy or sell stop is when, in the case of a long, it would be called a buy stop, and you are only wanting to enter a position if price gets somewhere above the current price. So that means you can't place a limit order, because for a limit order, your entry price needs to be lower in the case of a long. So it's called a buy stop when you're buying above the current price in the case of a long, and it's called a sell stop when you're selling below the lowest price. So in this case, we're going to place a buy stop, and I'm basically saying above this level is where I want to trigger an order. If we can't break above here, then I don't want a long position at all. So we're going to come up to this third tab here that is called stop, and we're going to click on trigger. You can see here again, it says a trigger order becomes a limit market order after it is triggered. So I want my trigger price to be a little bit before where I actually want my entry. So I'm going to stick that in right on that resistance line. And then I want my order, and then I want my actual entry to be just a little bit above that. Now that will place a limit order once price gets above 161.71. If I don't want that, if I just want to go in at market as soon as the price gets to 161.71, then I don't have to enter a price here. I can just click on market, and it will just do a market order as soon as it hits that trigger price. So I'll leave it on that for now. You can put in the amount, and then the only problem with this is we cannot set a take profit or a stop loss at the same time. So I'm going to click on open long, double check everything there, and click confirm. Now if I come down to open orders and change this to trigger, I can see my open order is here, and once it gets filled, it will go into positions. Okay, so once you have an order that has filled via a buy or sell stop, you now need to place your stop loss and your take profit. So you're going to come up to this stop section here, click on stop, and then from this drop down box, you're going to click OCO. Now OCO stands for one cancels the other. So we're going to place a take profit and a stop loss order here. Whichever one fills first, the other one will automatically get cancelled. We want to do that because we don't want to keep an order in the book that might accidentally get filled, and then we end up in a position that we never meant to get into. Now, with an OCO order, we have a trigger price and an order price. The trigger price is the price that this trade needs to get to before it will place your order in the order book. Whereas the order price is the price that you want to be out of the trade. Now, you can enter that as a limit or a market order. Because we are using this for the purpose of taking profit or setting a stop loss, it's advisable that you enter these prices at market rather than limit. Again, because you want to make sure you get a fill, especially if the trade's going the wrong way. In order to set it as a market, you just need to press these buttons here. If you do want to set it as a limit order, you would just need to write the amount that you want to be out of the trade in the box there. So your trigger price should be somewhere around where you want your take profit to be. So you can enter that number in there, and your stop loss should be around where you want your stop to be. Now, let's just say you want your stop loss to be at market, but you want your take profit to be a limit order. The way the limit order works is the price has to pass where you want to close your trade in order to trigger and then come back, because it's a traditional limit order. So what would have to happen is price would have to come down here, come past your take profit. At this level here, you would have your trigger price. So it would need to hit the trigger, then come up that little bit to hit your take profit to take you out. So if you've got your trigger price at 153.55, then your take profit in the case of a short needs to be a little bit higher than that. And then for the amount, you want to put in the amount that is equal to what you've got on the trade. And then you can put in here to close your short. Click confirm, and now in open orders you will see it here, and you can see here that you've got a stop loss, you've got the price that you want to be stopped out, and that is a market order, and then you've got to take profit, and you can see that that is a limit order. Now, should you want to exit this trade again before it either hits your take profit or your stop loss, under your positions you can just come here and click market close all. Now, regarding fees, over here you can see the trading fees for futures. They break coins down into class A and class B. So the fees depend on what coins you're actually trading. And then under perpetual swaps, it's class A, B, and C as well. And then they sometimes have promotional offers too. Now, they have levels for regular users, and the more OKB, which is the exchange token that you're holding, the bigger the discount you can get on fees. And your 24-hour withdrawal limit is 500 BTC. Then further down below, once you've worked up enough 30-day trading volume, you can go into the VIP area and your withdrawal limit gets increased and your fees get reduced as well. Some important things to note is that if you do have sub-accounts, the amount of the 30-day volume and also your account balance is a combination of all those accounts in order to qualify for these levels. So that's a good thing. And then here it just clarifies that maker orders are limit orders. So up here when it says maker fee, this is the fee for every limit order that you enter. Taker fee is the fee for every market order that you enter, and you've got that fee on your entry into a trade and your stop and your take profit. Now, this is probably something that will be better off to read in your own time because it will depend on your personal circumstances, but if you want to find this, it is okx.com/fees, and we can do a quick comparison to Binance, Popular Exchange, their maker taker for their perpetual 0.02 to 0.04. This one, depending on the class, 0.02 to 0.05, or potentially even lower on these other pairs. For futures, we've got 0.02 to 0.05 for class A, and then lower fees again for class B. Coin futures is the most similar, and they have a 0.01 to 0.05. And then lastly, you can use the analysis tab to have a look at your statistics. There's nothing on here, so it's a brand new account, but will show your profits, your P&L, your daily P&L, your asset allocation, etc., etc. So that's a good way to keep track. You can segregate that and you can change the period as well. Now, also on the OKX app itself, when you have a trade open, you can go to the trade tab in the bottom center of the screen, and you should see your position there, and just above your position you'll see a little blue circle. If you click on that, that brings up a screenshot of your current trade, which you can save that picture or share. Okay, that is all I have for you in this video. Good luck and enjoy the trading.